The first time I kissed Donald, it felt like stealing a piece of heaven in the middle of a storm. The boutique lights had just gone off for the night, and the soft hum of generators outside filled the silence between us. It wasn't planned, nothing about us ever was. Let me take you back a bit. I'm Catherine, a simple girl who fell in love with fabrics and fashion before anything else. My boutique in Victoria Island was my baby, the one thing I built from scratch. When I married Chief Emmanuel, yes, the business tycoon everyone respects, I thought my life was perfect. He gave me a new kind of spotlight, but what I didn't expect was Donald. Donald was my husband's only son, tall, sharp, and annoyingly confident. He ran his boutique like it was a kingdom, always boasting about how he could outdo my designs. I didn't like him at first. Who would? Every meeting with him turned into a war of who could make the better dress or pull the bigger client. But one day, everything changed. It was a quiet afternoon. Donald had stopped by my boutique, as usual, to pick faults in my latest collection. But instead of his usual sarcasm, he asked, "Auntie Catherine, how do you make your finishing so smooth? My tailors don't seem to get it." I laughed at first, thinking it was one of his tricks. But when I saw how serious he looked, I realized he wasn't trying to compete. He was trying to learn. And so it started. Late nights after the boutiques closed, sketching together, teaching him little tricks I'd learned over the years. Emmanuel was often out of town, trusting me to mentor his son. If only he knew. One night, we were working on a design for a big show, and Donald brushed a strand of hair from my face. I froze. His hand lingered for just a second too long. That's when I knew we had crossed a line we couldn't come back from. That night, I couldn't sleep. My heart was beating too fast, and every time I closed my eyes, I saw Donald's face, his hand on mine, his eyes saying everything his mouth didn't. I told myself it was just a moment, nothing to worry about. But deep down, I knew the truth. The next morning, I tried to act normal. I threw myself into work, meeting with sellers, and answering clients' calls. By afternoon, I convinced myself it was all in my head. But just as I was about to leave the boutique, Donald walked in unannounced. "Why are you here?" I asked, trying to sound casual. He smiled, that same annoying but charming smile he always had. I thought we were working on the final adjustments for the show. Or have you forgotten? I wanted to tell him to leave, to give me space to think, but I couldn't. Instead, I nodded and let him follow me into the workroom. We worked in silence for most of the evening, the hum of the sewing machines filling the air. Every now and then, I'd catch him watching me, his eyes softer than usual. It made me nervous, but I pretended not to notice. Then, as I was pinning fabric onto a mannequin, he spoke. "Catherine," he said softly, almost a whisper. I turned to face him, and before I could say anything, he added, "Do you ever feel like you're living someone else's life?" I didn't know how to respond. His words hit too close to home. For years, I'd been trying to fit into Emmanuel's world, to be the perfect wife, the perfect partner. But with Donald, I didn't have to pretend. "What are you trying to say?" I asked, my voice shaking. He took a step closer. "I'm saying, I can't stop thinking about you."